Namaste. Sivananda Supatha Foundation, Bhimanipatnam, is devoted to take forward Sadguru Sivananda Murtiji's mission by publishing his speeches and writings and holding seminars, symposiums, and conferences on various themes relating to Sanatana Dharma, Bharat culture, and its history, besides socio-cultural and spiritual topics. In pursuance of the above objectives, we organized an international symposium on reconstructing the cultural history of Bharat at Integral Institute of Advanced Management, Visakhapatnam, on February 18th and 19th, inviting reputed scholars from Bharat and abroad to enlighten us on various themes relating to the problems and perspectives in writing Bharat cultural history on truthful and purposeful lines. The erudite presentations of these scholars are presented in this channel. Kindly subscribe and encourage us in our endeavor to promote Sanatana Dharma.
Gentlemen, I am supposed to give key to work for these 2 days. Generally we call it a keynote address. But I don't have any key with me. I have so many problems. That's why I have said in the title itself that we are meaning for cultural history of Bharat. And that we are not giving right now. But what are the problems in having a comprehensive cultural history of Bharat? Many questions have come when the theme is circulated. I think a copy of the theme is also put in the small bags, the plastic bags that are given to the participants. The copy is also there. And this I did not want to present to all the audience openly because I was not sure about what I am going to write, what I am writing on by myself. I was only writing this to get answers, to get keys to various problems that I have before me. If I think of planning for writing cultural history of Bharat as is known to us, as Bharat is known to us from the times immemorial. But generally, we take history from what we find from our textbooks, which are given to us in the schools. And the teachers were coming and reading out one personality or the other, saying this and saying that about him, and going out. They were asking a few questions here and there in the question paper, and we used to write whatever we remembered, coming out of the examination, calling ourselves students of history and later teachers of history, and we also have grown, the people think, as professors of history. So this is a long journey from a primary school child to the university professor on the subject of history. But in the modern times, what is happening, in the past 50 years or 100 years, history is not what we read in our schools. And history has totally changed. The title continues, but the meanings have been changing. This is a major problem before us. What is history again? The same question as E.H. Carr or somebody had put in some 100 years ago. The same question still lingers on. We do not know. So what is the purpose of reading the present history with the political events or the economic developments or the havocs being created here and there and the sectionalization and subalterning everything as if there is nothing union, the sense of union with us. So we are again, if you go to the ancient concept of having the species of 84 lakhs, recently in the science they have considered that 87.4 lakhs unis are there, because they would call it what you call the species, they want to call it unis. As those who have, the first archaeologist who has seen in the Harappan excavation, nothing came to his mind except for the phallic symbols. He simply says Elinga is a phallic symbol. So that's how it has come into what you call in our minds. So that even now also our boy says, you know, in the Harappan times some 5,000 years ago or 4,000 years ago, there was phallic worship. And everything looks to him like that. Because they are trained to think, you know, on the lines of what the Westerners thought by seeing a specimen. So this history has come to us and doubled, tripled, and million copies are made, and billion minds are also made with what we have fed to the minds. So this is the history that we have. And now many research scholars and historians are attempting many ways how to show that we are not one. Our world is not one. And there may be diversities, but diversity is completely diversified, divided. Diversity is considered as division, as breaking, as independent of its own, and nothing is related. So this is the history of the world that we are seeing today. And now, in most of the historical works that are coming in just 2 decades or 3 decades, you don't find any history of anybody, no personality, no doing this or that. Everything is based on the conjectures. This is what we are seeing in the history. And the present historian, in what we see in the academia today, they have no knowledge of what has happened earlier. Just a generation ago or 2 generations ago, or some 200 years ago or 300 years ago. Because the Western mental frame does not take you beyond 200 to 300 years that there is something which is to be learned. They called themselves that they were in a very dark age. They called the entire medieval age as a dark age. And they have opened their eyes only the 15th century, the Western Europe. And the Western Europe has seen the world now from their perspective, from their idea of the world, for their idea of the Genesis, and say and reject that any other development has taken place at any other place at any other particular time. So this is the problem before us. So now a section of historians who are conscious of doing something, they are trying to rewrite history. So some people are attempting rewriting history. This rewriting history is going on again. And the rewriting history, what is happening, you are seeing the same material, interpreting the same material, not finding anything new, but try to give in your own perspective. So we are only developing perspectives, but not history. So that is our problem. So to rewrite history, you are only reproducing the material in a different car. Or you may use it as a semi-fiction one, semi-historical one. And what we see, because we are mostly accustomed to see the screen. And in the world screen of so many TV channels and TV programs and the film productions and the historical subject, they are taking the name and doing whatever they wanted to like. That's not history. The name is some Alexander. The name may be Ashoka, name may be something Bahubali. But that is not historical. But that it is being fed into our minds as historical. That is the history. See the same plight with Ramayana. Ramayana is produced by many people. And the most recent example you can take Adi Purush. What is that Adi Purush? How is he looks? Does he look like Rama? Or how is Ravana? How is Hanuman? What impression we had about him? And how he looks here. So this is all the mental work. Not even intellectual work. It's only just mental work. Mad mental work is going on. And that is stamping the minds. The young minds and also old minds. Because older people are also not better than young people now. They have not read anything. Nobody has read anything. Just looking at the screen. So this is the plight. That's the reason, sir, we are taking here, we are not taking it, this as going to be a rewriting. And I may request 10 or 15 distinguished writers, giving them different chapters and say we are having a comprehensive cultural history of art. That can be done. In a span of 6 months or 5 months, we can take a project and each one of us write one chapter and rewrite history and call it as a cultural history. But what is the benefit? What is the advantage of that? Reproducing the same material, reproducing the same way in a different way. So this is going to come. So should we give a break, as Professor Raghavendran has said about Guruji's intention to have a comprehensive history which includes everything. It doesn't exclude anything. If Ravana is there, Ravana is part of us. Kamsa is part of us. Because these ideas, what we call Shadgunas, whatever, because we have a very big tattva about that. All these gunas are with us. Trigunas are with us. And we are made of these trigunas. So this understanding was available even to a common man in a particular point of time. That we have forgotten. We have come a long distance. That's the reason we call this, let us forget this. Let us not going to construct a cultural history. We only reconstruct the cultural history which we have left some centuries ago or million years ago. Guruji was always telling us that the past definitely gives us the understanding of the present, and past has a direct impact on our life in the present. In fact, we are made of the past. But you should think of not this past, recent past. You should think of the remote past. Because the remote past is going to be your future. So your future is not decided by the past, recent past and the present. Because if you continue like this, your immediate future will not be different from the present. It will be more complicated. So you will have to think of the distant past. So keeping that in view, see that we are all one, and so we call Vasudhaiva Kutumbam. Because all those who are living on this Vasudha, this earth, are the children of this earth. So we are all children of the same land on which we are all standing. So some may be having a brown skin, some may be black skin, some may be white skin, whatever it means. Skins may be different. And the different climate zones are there, and different phenomena, environment is different, and the climatical regions are there different. So many differences should be there. They are not differences, but it is giving us multi-ideas, multi-engagement, multi-experiences. We are enriching ourselves by looking at the diversity. But when you are seeing outside, you should look to the diversity and see that it is all you enjoying this in different forms. That's what we say the concept of Shiva. Concept Shiva is one, but he is within you, within me. He is in the earth, he is in the cosmos. He created and he joined it. He is one with the cosmos. So if that unity, that spirit of unity, if we could get from what we are going to write history, this history would be advantageous. As in the Sivananda mission, Professor Raghavendran was telling us that everything should have a bearing on what we are going to do, and it has the bearing what we are going to get in future. So everything is related. It is intertwined. Maybe having different experiences. All these experiences have to come together with us, and we should be enriched with this variety of experiences. We should not take them that they are different and they are inimical with each other. Even there, if you take the Itihasa gives you this understanding. Different people were there, with different gunas were there, different abilities were there, but they all make one wonderful, one beautiful experience of life. So we remember him. So we say it is Raja Ram. Otherwise, what is the purpose? If he is different, because in the modern times what we say nuclear families or molecular families. So you are not going to join anybody else. So if history has nothing to teach us, what is that we are going to do? Because if you say in the present history, the advantage, if you learn Ashoka, if you learn about Mauryas, if we learn about Aurangzeb, learn about Cornwallis or Curzon. So what is that you are learning? How is it going to be related to your present life? So we say history has no use, no purpose. So even now, in our schools in Andhra Pradesh, we are not teaching history in the schools. We are not teaching it all. So we are only speaking of some personalities here and there. Some Buddha, some Ashoka, some Aurangzeb, some Akbar, some Curzon. Some personalities are referred to you. So there is no connectivity, because history is a connectivity of events. It is a sequence. It is a running stream. But you are breaking it. And you are not giving an idea that we are passing through the flood and we are reaching somewhere. So that idea is being lost. So we should have history that should be purposeful. As in the Visakhapatnam mission we say, it should be able to teach us the art of living. And also finally, it should teach us how to live. Yoga, how to live. That is, Guruji says, science of living. So it should give us both. So when you are going to worship some deity, you ask for both. You ask for happiness, you ask for satisfaction to your desires, but again say, Rama, you should take me to the place where you are. Saijyam, Salokyam, Saijyam. So we ask so many desires for this life, but at the end, our interest is to ask him, Rama, you just don't leave me here, you take me with you. Which I should be with you, or you should be with me. So this is the concept. So when you are teaching history, when you are learning history, when you are reading history, both the purposes of human life must be served. Otherwise it's no use. So if you look into the other Shastras, right from the Vedic literature, to Shastra literature, to Purana literature, Itihasa literature, and even Dharma Shastras, Nyaya Shastras, and Sangeeta Shastras, and Vastu Shastras, all these Shastras, though giving you the expertise in that particular art, but the end of it they say that you are joining it, you are merging in it, and you are losing yourself into it. That is the aim of music. Or classical music is fashioned in that way. The science of music is there. Science of architecture is there. And even for some Dharma Sindhu or Nirnaya Sindhu, a chapter is given that what should be your objective. Objectives for this life and objectives for the end of your life. After this, what you are. So no Shastra is devoid of giving you the view of the other world, the view of your ultimate goal, the way how to reach there. So if you take history, the present history, what is going on, the historiography that we have developed for the past 300 years, from the West we have taken the perspectives. Even now also in India, we are writing history following the concepts and the theories coming from the West. Even if you see Marx, Marx has not seen India, but Marx is read here, practiced here, his tools are implemented for interpretation, all that. So this is going on in the present writings of history. So this trend has to be given a break. If you start rewriting, the problem again emerges into it. So we call this as a reconstructing. We are not constructing culture, it is already there. The culture is already there. Culture has come to us through Sanatana Dharma, as we know that Sanatana Dharma is given by him if he is there, or given by it if its Shakti is there. It is given to us. All the knowledge that has come down through the sages to the use of the common man. So likewise, the history should teach us how it has come, who brought it, and what are the experiences of those who followed it, and what is the advantages you are going to get, and what is meant to do something in that particular phenomena. So all these things, it should give you an idea. So similarly, history should also be taken to that level of the ancient literature, ancient genres of literature. So this we have to look into, and so we say that what ails this history, we should start from here. And we have Francois Gautier here, and we have also had the Professor Heram Chaturvedi. So these papers, we only wanted to have them to show us what is the problem with our historical interpretation. We will come to points later. We will come to it. So,
can I ask you questions?
Later. But generally, keynote address, is immune of taking any questions, because these questions, have to be answered by our distinguished guest. I do not know anything about it. I will come to you. So the problem is that all these things, 2 lectures that we have given, we have arranged for, have to deal with us and tell us what the problem, what ails our present history, and we have these 2 distinguished speakers on this subject. And similarly, when we are looking into the ancient guidance from the ancient literature, so we have to again start from the Vedic literature. When we are coming from the Vedic literature, so we have our well-wisher and friend and Padma Bhushan awardee, Vamdeva Shastri ji is here. He would start this. And then we have to take so much from Puranas, and from Puranas the symbolism has to be deciphered, decoded. It's a very difficult job, and for that we need a wonderful experts. And so we have requested Avadhanujiri to speak to us on this. And then the Itihasa literature which we are referring to, and for this Itihasa literature, and particularly he is looking at the dates. And we have our good friend Nilesh Oak has come. And when we think of art, that I already said, the art has also some meaning to us, and it is going to guide us to an end. And Professor Kiran Kant Chaudhary is going to help us. So these distinguished guests are requested to take one or the aspects of the culture, but culture encompasses everything. Please.
I would like to ask you a question, sir, because of course I have a lot of how is it that after 10 years of the BJP in power, a party that was elected by the Hindus, there is no change in the curriculum that are taught in school? That I see the Indian youth today, they are disconnected from their history, from their culture. There is no pride. How is it possible?
That is my agony. That is my agony. Not only 10 years or 15 years, for the past 75 years. We became independent 75 years ago, but we did not develop any independent thinking on these lines. So that's where we have to restart. So this is the problem. So we have to have a comprehensive view from the beginning of the universe, the ideas that we have and the science that we have developed in the ancient times. And we have come down to the present times, what ails us this particular history and how to reconstruct the history, because what type of methodology that they have used to give us this knowledge of history. As we have one or two examples, in the ancient times, particularly in the Mahabharata times, where Parashara was the one who thought of what had happened before. Because earlier it doesn't mean that they didn't have the idea. They had a time sense that it was never ending. So they were already having the knowledge of the concept of kalosmi. Kala is itself time. Time is itself God. Time is Almighty. So that is the idea. So where should we pinpoint to two ends so that we can write history? We have to find out 2 points. Because time is a stretching one. We do not know. We cannot say it is divisible. Time is not divisible. But for our life it is limited. So we have 2 points. One point is beginning and the other point end. So that's where history starts. So in the universe, many creations have come before. But in history, we cannot go beyond our creation, beyond our civilization. So Parashara was inquiring what had happened earlier. That has come like a Purana. And that Purana, with 18 aspects, Vyasa has given, his son Vyasa has given to us. And this Vyasa, 18 Puranas had so many Upa Puranas, and even Sthala Puranas have come. This is the concept of history. So the significance and the importance of a particular individual or a particular place or a particular tirtha and a particular practice, the religious practice, they are given. So we also had a concept of yugas. Guruji was always telling us, there is all the yugas we have given different names to the yuga, and we have brought these yugas with the dharma. So it is associated with dharma. How is Kruta Yuga different from Dwapara, Treta Yuga, and how it is different from Kali Yuga? It's only what you call the dharma. Take the scale of dharma and decide what is Kruta Yuga, what is Treta Yuga, what is Dwapara Yuga, and we have a very big time scale. In this time scale, if we start looking about 4,32,000 this and that, perhaps in history we may not be able to do justice to that. But if you look at not rationally, precisely, but if you look at it from the conceptually, what kind of practices were advised for that particular yuga will give you the chronology of that particular age. So he says the chronology is very important for history, study of history. This chronology can be thought of in our vast history in 2 or 3 what you call the parameters we can take. For example, the Rishi lineages. You can take from the Rig Veda about 430 or 452 rishis were there, and their progeny have spread. So these lineages are available. Similarly, in Puranas we have the king's lineages. King's lineages have come later. But the Rishi lineage take us to the primitive period, what we call the primitive or formative years. Not primitive, but it's formative years. So that chronology can be built with the help of the Rishi lineages, and later chronology can be built by the king's lineages, And later, you can think of the practices, religious practices. We didn't have religions. We had traditions. We have practices. So Guruji says that we have practices, and these practices, if you look at it, the practices are suggested by the saints or as suitable to that particular time, that particular period, that particular set of people. So we have several practices, religious practices, and they go according to the person, according to the time, according to the place. So if you look into these religious practices, right from the Vedic times to the present day Bhakti Tattva, so we will be able to see what kind of people were there, what kind of thinking was there, what kind of life was there, what kind of ritual was there. Through rituals you can build up a cultural history of the past, right from the primitive periods, from the formative periods, short primitive periods. This terminology we only take from our Western scholars. Not primitive, it's formative years. So from that period till now, it has come up. And with regard to the time and space and all these things, we always know our Indian historians, particularly the Hindu historians or Indian historians, because everybody is a Hindu in India. That's what generally is going on. Anybody even questions, who questions Hinduism, who is an atheist or who is anti-atheist, is no problem, but is anti-tattva. So those people are also there. But what happens to them is the ideas that we have earlier are everything has to be questioned. And we have a new theory which has come up in the West. It is about deconstructionism. There should not be anything. It's destructuralism. So if there are 10 people, we should make 10 sides. We have to make 10 different things, 10 different sections. In Telugu, people are not one. Telugu people must be 10 tribes, different places. So this kind of divisive mentality is also has been taken by our Indian scholars to interpret Indian culture. That's the reason it's more divisive. So that way, there is no, they will see that all people are never one, they should never be one, and in future also they can't be one. So this is how the theories are coming up. So all these theories have no historical base. They are all conjectures, the working of some intellect, and that is applied for the existing shastras, for existing literature, for existing understanding. So this is the major problem before us. So when we are thinking of perspectives, what kind of perspectives we should have, why should we have a perspective? Perspective is always single-minded perspective. Only one. It has come from Marx, it has come from Gramsci, it has come from somebody else. But it is not a collective thing, it's not a collective opinion. So this cannot be generalized, and that cannot be applied for each and every situation. As in the scientific principle, in science, when you are having a principle that can be applied anywhere, anytime. You can demonstrate anywhere. But it can't happen with regard to the human element. Human elements are different. So that kind of understanding has to be understood, and the history should be made a readable one, a learnable one, and a profitable one by all those who are interested about what had happened earlier, what is happening today, what is going to happen tomorrow. So we have before us our friends who speak to us on the Vedic times and the Puranic times and the Theosophic times, and also the problems that we are facing in writing history, and what we are planning to have, what should be our concept of culture, and what should be the concept of cultural history, and what are the methods that we have to employ now to write history, and how is it going to help us, everyone, in his journey of life. So with these ideas, some what you call not tested ideas, but they are coming, these questions are coming to all those conscious people who are thinking of history, who are thinking of the purpose of history, teaching and learning. So with this idea, we have this symposium, And in this symposium for 2 days, we have about 12 topics to be discussed. And these 12 topics are pertaining to different aspects of cultural history. And in future, if God wills and if Guruji says yes, then we will be trying to bring out a volume with the proceedings of this symposium, and later small workshops in each area. I think we are planning to have with limited experts in that particular field, so that a workshop could be planned about each aspect and work upon that, and if God wills, we can have a comprehensive history of cultural history of Bharat, which we can present to the general understanding of the public. So this is going to be our effort. Let us all work together and let us see what is going to happen. Sorry that I have taken much of your time. There is much more I have prepared for the speaking today, but I don't want to trouble you. Now I think we deserve to have a hot cup of tea after this. After this again, in 10 or 15 minutes we will come back here, and then we are going to start the narration.